Okay, so all I'm doing here is I have about 15 ounces of bread. And my bread is fresh, which obviously ideal is to have stale or, day old bread. But so I'm going to just cut up my bread into cubes, 1 inch cubes or whatever. And then I'm going to put them on a baking sheet and I'll stick them in the oven for about 10 minutes or so, maybe around 350, just to crisp them up and dry them out just a bit. Hello. Today I'm going to make this is high protein French toast. And I am making this because I have some bread that has been sitting on the counter and it's just going to get moldy and I would prefer it not get moldy and I'd rather make something with it. So that is what we're doing today. Now, basically all you do, I've got my bread and I'm toasting it a little bit in the oven because it is fresh and I want it a little bit crunchy. Stale bread's better for French toast, but I'm doing this. And before I get started, people, have you tried this? Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero, so good. I mean, oh my word. I was pleasantly surprised because I did like the Dr. Pepper for a while, but I just kind of like, eh. And this, okay, enough chatter. Let's do something. All you are is looking at this cup. I bet that's exciting. So we're going to put all of our ingredients into a blender. That is what we're going to do first. Now, you need 4 eggs. So let's get our 4 eggs in here. Okay, so I've got my 4 eggs in here. And then to that, I'm also going to add some egg whites. Now, I'm going to do 2 cups of egg whites here, which will add a lot of protein. Sorry about the noise. It'll add a lot of protein and not as many calories. So egg whites are an excellent way to up the protein count. Usually mixing, like I find if you go straight egg whites and like something to like an omelet or an egg bake, like it's not quite enough substance. I find for me, you might be different, but I just like to have a little bit of um, eggs in there too. Now, to that, we're also going to add some more protein, and this is a 1/2 cup of cottage cheese. Now, I'm going to just kind of guess add about a 1/2 cup. If you've watched any of my other recipes, I am very much measuring and me don't necessarily mix. I don't want to do it. So, there are other ingredients, but they're not going to fit in this. So I'm just going to whip this up really fast and then we will be back. So we've got our egg mixture all whipped up. And I'm just going to pour this into our little bowl here. And then I'm going to add the rest of our ingredients. Now to this, we're going to add just a little bit of lemon juice, just a little brightness, just maybe a tablespoon or two, just kind of to add that I don't know, lemony, a light little citrus, and about a teaspoon or so, a couple teaspoons of vanilla. We've got about a teaspoon of cinnamon in here. I love cinnamon. I go crazy over cinnamon. Let's put a little bit more. Why not? Let's do that. And we're also going to use, to keep it sugar-free, to keep it lower, I am going to use sugar-free syrup in this. Now, of course, you can use your sweetener of choice, whatever it is that you prefer, but I'm just going to help add a little bit to that. I don't know, a couple tablespoons, more like closer to 1/3 of a cup, maybe 1/4 of a cup. It's really like not that technical. It is what you enjoy and what you prefer. So, and I'm going to add, now I have this Chobani. Did I say that correctly? Now it's called super milk because it's got about the calories of about 2%, but it also has twice the amount of protein in it. So I am going to use about a cup or so of this You can use whatever milk you prefer, almond, skim. I did measure that. Whatever floats your boat. So whatever you have on hand, whatever you like to do. And then I am going to add, to up the protein even more, I'm going to add in 1 scoop of protein powder. Now this is just vanilla. I prefer vanilla. It just it goes with everything, and it kind of just takes on whatever flavor. So I'm just going to put in 1 scoop. Now this is casein, and I maybe should have gone with whey because casein really sucks up the liquid. But if that's the problem, I can always add a little more milk or something to this. So let's just get this blended up a little bit here. Now I've decided I'm just going to add a little bit more protein here. We'll see what happens there. Maybe 3/4 of a scoop more or so. And that one is whey protein concentrate. I like to mix the type of whey because the casein is much more absorbent. Did I say that right? Than the whey concentrate or isolate. So let's just get this mixed up well. Here is our bread, all nice and toasted up. And people, I'm going to admit, I made a mistake, so don't do what I did. I knew I should have added the protein powder into my blender when I did it, and I was running out of room, and I have made a mess with my blender, and I should have done it. So I went back, and I put in, and I re-blended, because you don't want chunks of protein powder. So please, if you make this, put your protein powder in with your mix. Otherwise, unless you don't mind chewing little chunks of things in your bake. So I'm going to finish blending that up. I'm going to put all the rest of the egg mix on top, and then I'm going to bake it. Okay, so I just want to show you. This is what mine looks like. I'm just going to make sure all of the bread is wet because you don't want crusty bread. Who wants crusty bread? I do not. And I am glad, because sometimes when I make French toast bakes, I end up with a lot more bread than goop. Not goop, but egg wet sauce. And it ends up like I have to keep adding like milk or something to get it all covered. Probably because I'm trying to use up all my bread and I don't listen to the instructions. But this looks delicious already. So I'm just going to bake this at 350. And you could add some frozen fruit right into this. I just didn't have any on hand, but blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, whatever you have, you can definitely add that or put it on top when it's done. But there we go. So I'm going to bake it at 350, and I'm going to check it after about maybe 40 minutes or so to see how it's doing, because I don't want to overbake. Okay, hello. It is all cooked. Now this only took about 30 minutes at 350. The instructions do say you can refrigerate it overnight. So if you refrigerate it overnight, it just gets it, a little bit more gooey into the bread. Maybe a better flavor overall. I didn't do that, but you're just gonna have to bake longer, obviously. So this you can eat as is, which I'm going to take a little bite as is. But you could also top it with Greek yogurt. You could top it with fresh fruit. You could put more syrup on top. But I'm just going to give this a little whirly poo. And I like that it makes a bunch. Now, 1/8 is probably around 200 calories, 25-ish grams of protein, because you've got the protein powder, you got the egg whites in there, you've got the cottage cheese. So lots of things that add protein.
let's give this a little try. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm. So awkward when you're chewing and want to hurry up and talk. This is yummy. This is very good. I enjoy this because the protein powder too adds more flavor. So it is sweeter with the protein powder, and I put the syrup in. Now, maybe just for a little more moisture, I might add a little more syrup on top, but this is delicious. And I'm hoping my boys won't eat it all up because I want it for myself. So I hope you'll give this a try. Take a look at my recipe in the description below, and feel free to mix it up and use different kinds of breads. And I just used what I had, nothing special about it. And yeah, I'll be enjoying a little bit more of this right now. Thanks for joining me. Bye.